Hola chicos, esta información está en los paquetes en página 21 y corresponde, it corresponds a la pregunta ¿a qué hora? ¿A qué hora significa at what time? At what time. También esta información está en el libro en página 86. To talk about at what time something happens, you start your sentence with a las or a la. If you start with a las, you're talking about a plural hour, or the hours from 2 to 12, and that's AM and PM. If you're talking about a la, you only are talking about 1 AM or 1 PM. That's it. And the difference, you know your articles. Las is a plural one and la is singular. That's the difference. You're actually describing the word hora, at the hour of blah blah blah. To describe the minute or the half hour, you use media, and we'll see how this all fits together in a little bit, but right now this is just the vocab. Or the quarter of the hour, so if it's quarter after as in like 1:15, or quarter to an hour as in 2:45, you use the word cuarto in Spanish, which means quarter. If it's the minute, you're going to use the number. And this poses a little bit of a pause for us because we have to go over some more information. The number 11 in Spanish is once, and even though you don't specifically have notes for this right here on page 21, go ahead and jot these down. 12 is doce, 13 is trece, 14, catorce. The number 15 in Spanish is something different, but right now we're just going to focus on cuarto for 15. Then the number 16 actually starts a pattern that we can follow. And a couple of the classes have already started talking about this, that 16 is really 10 plus 6. So when you say it, you say diez y seis. 17 follows the pattern, diez y siete. 18, diez y ocho. 19, diez y nueve. And then 20 is a completely new one. 20 is veinte. Then 20 starts the same pattern all over again. 20 and 1. You would think it would be veinte y uno, but that's too many vowel sounds right next to each other. So what they do is they slur it all together. Veintiuno. So the I comes from the Y, and then you add uno on there. There's also an accent to stress it. 22, veintidós. And there's an accent to stress that one as well. And then the pattern just continues. Veintitrés, veinticuatro, veinticinco, veintiséis, veintisiete, veintiocho, veintinueve. And then after veintinueve, you would use media. Other information in the morning, de la mañana. Remember, hasta mañana is see you tomorrow, but it also does mean morning in Spanish. In the afternoon is de la tarde. And in the evening, de la noche. Two more rules, and then we're going to put them together. If the minutes are before 30, so if it's any time from 1:01 to 1:29, you add them to the hour and you use y. Remember that y in Spanish means and. For example, we want to say at 1:30, I like to eat lunch. Remember in the top of our notes, we said we start our sentences with a las or a la. Now here's your question. Is 1:30 a singular hour or a plural hour? Good, it's a singular hour. So for that one and only that one, because it's 1:30, we would say a la, and how do you say one? Uno, but because we're talking about the word hora, we're going to change it to feminine, so a la una. Now we're going to add y, and how do you say 30? Good, media. A la una y media, and then the rest of our sentence would continue if we wanted to add stuff. Me gusta comer. Okay, 8:15. Are we going to follow the pattern a la una, or are we going to make it plural, a las? Good. A las ocho. Now we're going to add the y, y. And we're not going to use the real number 15. We're going to say at 8:15. So a las 8:15. Now we're going to add to that. Me gusta enseñar. New vocab word, I like to teach. This one at 3:04. It's still going to follow the same pattern as at 8:15. A las 3 y, how do you say 4? Good. Cuatro. Notice that cuarto and cuatro were almost exactly the same word, except the R and the T and the R are flipped around. So a las 3:04, me gusta descansar. Now remember that the me gusta, that's just additional vocab that I'm adding to show you how I would use it in a sentence. Right now we're focusing on the a la and the a las. So that's when the minutes are 1:01 and 1:29. However, if the minutes are after 30, as in it is 12:30 until 12:59, you round up to the next hour and then you subtract. You use the word menos. So if you take a look at this, we want to say at 1:40. But you're not really saying at 1:40. Technically you're saying at 2 minus 20. So we're going to say a las, how do you say 2? Good. Dos. Now instead of the E that we used up here, we're going to say menos. A las 2 menos, and then 20 was our new vocab word. A las 2 menos 20. So at 2:20, yo tengo la clase de español. 7:55. So at 7:55 or at 8 minus 5. Or your mom and dad or your grandma and grandpa might say it's 5 to 8 or 5 till. That's what they mean when they're saying that. A las, and we're going to round up, a las 8 menos 5. So at 7:55 or a las 8 menos 5, me gusta beber café. I like to drink coffee. Last one's a tricky one. At 12:35, we're going to round up. So if it's at 12:35, it's actually at 1 minus 25 minutes. And that one's complicated because it says 12, but you have to use a la una, so you have to round up to 1 o'clock, menos, now we got to use our new vocab again, 25, 25. So at 1 minus 25, me gusta tomar apuntes. I like to take notes. Fabuloso. We're going to go over these and practice these with your schedule that you have at school tomorrow in class. Adios.